Lotu-Iiga.
Mr Speaker, it's a pleasure to speak on this, the Housing Accord Special Housing Areas Bill. And may I, sir, first acknowledge the Minister, the Honourable Dr Nick Smith, for his leadership and his ability and his hard work in bringing this bill to the House, sir. And the reason why is that he understands the issues that relate to affordable housing in the country. He understands that there is a plan to address those housing issues in this country. And, sir, he is taking action to address those issues that pertain to housing affordability in this country, sir. And we all know that the Minister has set out the case for this bill to enable the government to work with councils to fast-track consents for new housing developments across this country, sir. And when you talk to the developers out there, they say the one thing, that the one barrier that doesn't allow them to get on to building houses, especially in Auckland, is around the red tape and bureaucracy. So this bill will address that by freeing up land and bringing down the bureaucracy that really it doesn't enable our developers to build homes in this country. The opposition member crowed about that land supply is not the only answer, and we on the side of the House agree with that. But this measure goes to attacking the single most important issue around affordable housing. The Productivity Commission said it, the IMF, the Reserve Bank and the Treasury have said that land supply is critical. So it saddens me today to listen to Labor members not allowing this bill or not voting for this bill when this bill critically increases land supply across this country. Sir, it is about the government working with local councils. There are other issues. They include material costs, they include the building of infrastructure, and they include productivity in the construction sector, because we know productivity has actually declined over the last 20 years in that sector, and I've already talked about red tape, compliance costs and productivity and bureaucracy. So this bill will speed up resource consent, sir. And it's evident, as the Minister has already said, in Auckland we need 39,000 homes over the next 3 years. And clearly 1,400 sections available for construction is not going to do it. So this bill aims to redress that issue. And if Mr Twyford and his mates across the aisle say that this is not going to do that, then why is the de facto leader of the Labor Party in this country, Mayor Len Brown, why has he brought on to this piece of legislation being able to at least release land in the Auckland region? So I challenge him to go back to his mates in the Labor Party and ask why Mayor Len Brown is supporting this. Sir, the Select Committee made a number of changes I just want to touch on. I want to thank the Select Committee members. Also want to thank the officials who worked under what were quite challenging circumstances to assist the committee to get this legislation to the House. And we heard submissions both here and in Auckland. And submitters generally supported the government's intent, unlike what Mr Twyford said in his speech. They actually support this bill to streamline consent processes and release land. And one of the changes that the committee made was to clarify how and when the powers of the bill can be used, clarify how the provisions of the bill will work with other legislation, primarily the Resource Management Act. And submitters also were concerned, sir, that in determining which regions have housing supply and affordability issues, the critical criteria around affordability was around land supply. Sir, amendments enable the Minister to consider other factors, including projected demands and other things such as shortage of supply or lack of affordability or infrastructure. And I think that's really important because we listened to the submitters and we inserted clauses in the bill to allow it to reflect the views of New Zealanders. Sir, we also looked at the definition of predominantly residential, which means for qualifying developments, and we clarified that it must therefore have the supply of residential dwellings as its primary purpose. Mr Twyford also related to the override provisions, and sir, to ally some of the fears of the councils that made submissions, the bill now includes the option of inserting a dispute resolution process into our housing accord. and that Mr Twyford knows it. It knows that those types of clauses are effective, where both parties to an accord agree to a dispute resolution process, then that will take priority. And for clarification, we inserted that into the bill. Sir, we've also dealt with definitions around what is adjacent or adjoining, landowners to be notified of new developments, and the committee generally were constructive in bringing about some of those changes. So, sir, I conclude by saying high housing prices in Auckland raises debt, it increases demands on both government and social assistance of NGOs. Making housing more affordable is good for the economy, it's good for our communities, and it's good for those families that are seeking to get affordable housing in our communities. This bill, as I've said, is not the panacea. It is one of a number of initiatives that this government is progressing to address the issue of housing affordability. And we will continue, sir. And Mr Twyford might laugh at the fact that this is a serious issue in Parliament. It's a serious issue for my communities in Maungakiekie. But we will continue to act in the best interests of all New Zealanders who want to live their Kiwi dream, who want to live in their own home. And we will continue to support and encourage those New Zealanders to aspire to their dreams and aspirations. And that's why I commend this bill to the House.
Thank you, Mr Chair. You'll notice that the chairperson of the Select Committee, who has just resumed his seat, nor the Minister himself actually gave any sense of how many affordable homes would be built off the back of